Oh, is that all the fire smoke?
Yeah, it's all fire smoke.
Wow. So beautiful. Is that a moose over there?
No, I wish.
It
This,
looks like a moose in the
yeah,
photo.
no, this lake looked like there would be a moose
I
there.
love, I
Um,
love moose.
you know, this was a really cool lake. I ended up sitting here had my lunch, ended up sitting here for like an hour.
Clink, 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 clink. Got to get that noise right.
Yeah. What's up, man? How you been?
Um, I've been good. It's been really good. A lot of good things happening in the world, even though, there's like a pandemic and all going on, but that's life.
Yeah. No, right. Seems like everything's falling apart, but shoot, it's gonna get better.
Right? Just gotta live and go see the things around us, and
Mm,
get out and about and get in the car and hit the road.
yeah. Luckily, the fires have stopped. Uh,
Yeah, we
yeah.
which is actually really kind of funny, and I do want to bring this up, and you bring up a good point today when you talk about the fires. Living in Montana, that's what we call August and September. Everyone in Oregon was all like, "Oh my God, we're burning down," and things. I mean, it's bad. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I'm not downplaying
I
that,
know, and I was thinking about that too, because I mean, Oregon gets fires too, like every,
right?
but they're all kind of east of the Cascades,
Yes.
the fires. And the thing about east of the Cascades in Oregon, one, there's no people.
Yeah.
There's no people. West of the Cascades is like where all those people are, and then two, even the coast was on fire. So
That was nuts.
yeah,
Actually, to understand and see on here. The thing that what I think Oregon doesn't do properly that is actually kind of like a Native American thing that has been done for thousands of years in these areas
hmm,
uh, was like kind of like a controlled burn in these forested areas. That's the like we don't go into our national forests and do controlled burns of burning the undergrowth, and especially in a place like Oregon where there's all that
yeah.
grass that grows and that moss and that thick.
But it's weird, because the little bit from Rocky Mountain that we did. Do you remember seeing them making the piles and doing the burns in
Yeah,
Rocky
well,
Mountain?
because that's what like I believe Colorado law because of
Oh,
forest fires. I
yeah.
believe that's something they do, and I don't think Oregon does that. And what really in some of these states, such as Oregon, Washington, Montana, Idaho, where you have these political sides that are like, "Fuck you, we're left. Fuck you, we're right." It's a lot of like rather than just burning it and getting rid of the undergrowth and keeping it the way it is, it's like we want to forest it. No, we want to leave it the way it is. We want to log it, and it's these two sides back and forth, back and forth. And I think in places where it is heated like that, it doesn't happen as much when really it's like if you're just going to leave the forest the way the forest is, just do a controlled burn.
Yeah.
Like get the logs out of there, have people harvest the wood, have these programs and things to do it. There's places in this world that we don't think we don't have the right people in the jobs to do the thinking. Sometimes is like, hey, like if you work in your local national forest, whatever, figure out ways to do that. Where it's like there's probably some community center in the nearby cities you could give that excess wood to, that undergrowth wood to, and we don't necessarily think that way because we got other things to do and whatnot, and it's always good to have other options.
Yeah, no, for sure. But no, it's been nice. The rain has come. It's been raining here a bit. We're supposed to get a ton of rain and like I guess 40-mile-per-hour winds here tonight, actually. So
Ooh, 40-mile. See, that's the other thing that
I mean 40 is big, but um, come December, we'll get 100-mile, 70 plus easy. Probably, every other week.
well, and you say that, right? And people are like, wow, that's happening in Seaside, Oregon. Like, wow, that's nuts. But that same stuff is happening in East Glacier Park on the Blackfeet Reservation. You look it up. 2019, 2018, the snowstorms that hit, there's only 2 roads that go into this community that were both snowed in because the wind comes right off the Rocky Mountains there, right onto the plains. And it's going 160 miles an hour. The snow just dumps like crazy right there on the east side of the Rockies.
There's nothing there on the east side of the Rockies, man.
Oh, but it's the Blackfeet reservations there. The proud
No. When I'm talking, I'm not talking like that. When I'm talking like, there's no barrier.
land.
Yeah, there's a reason why like the worst sea in the world or ocean for weather and chop and all that is the South Sea, because it's full 360-degree no land.
Oh
So,
yeah.
that's why that area is so bad, is because there's nothing blocking it.
Well, I do wonder, and this is something that if there's any geologists or rock people that listen that could answer this, I'm curious if that is because of how fast the Earth is rotating, and at the bottom there, if because of it's not there is water, if there ever will be land down there. I'm curious to learn more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you email us,
I would love to have some
right?
on and talk about Pangea.
Right? Email us at wanderingwayspodcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, please.
WANDERINGWAYSPODCAST, the little @ sign, GMAIL.com. And that's going to be the one that I think we're going to get our geologist that can help us answer that question, because I want to learn more about the South Sea. That you brought up a really cool thing, and I never knew that. So
yeah, no, that would be legit. I'm trying to get in this is a total nerd moment here coming up, but I'm trying to get in a book club with a guy that rode the Drake Passage, which is the southernmost tip of South America to Antarctica.
Wow.
So I'm trying to get in a book club because that guy's actually from Oregon. And
is he the same guy from Oregon that also walked
Antarctica?
Antarctica, yeah.
Yeah, it's same guy.
What a cool dude.
I know. Now he lives in Jackson Hole. Colin O'Brady, if you don't know, check him out. He's amazing. I'm a huge fan of him. I've read his book. I'm probably going to reread it.
Awesome.
It's super cool. I'm hoping to get in a book club with him.
Nice. Well, I'm going to wander back over to the east side of the glacier, or east side of Glacier National Park, where in the winter, people complain about that. That's hurricane force wind and snowstorms. We were driving in it last year, and this was in September of last year, and it was like 100-mile-an-hour wind. We could not see 3 feet in front of the car. It was this. We almost got hit by semi-trucks. It was the scariest time I've ever been in a car, and it's one of those moments where it's literally like, just pull over, find a stop, and try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it was nuts, but we made it back. We were fine. We're safe. We're here. So
no, it's crazy when you get winds.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, we had what they classified later as a hurricane with the winds and the storm. It knocked the power out here. We had no power for a week, and the trees were knocked down so bad. You can actually driving in still see where the storm was.
Oh, wow.
You actually could not even leave the area because the only real roads out were blocked by trees.
Oh, nuts.
So we were out of power and all that for a week. I was cool with it because I was like, I've got to go to school.
Right. That's the thing, right? Like these kids, I look at like my younger brother Joe and the like COVID, right? Like,
yeah,
we didn't go to school. Like, oh, we had fun. We talked on our computers,
Right. Yeah. No, my niece, I think she's like 7, right? So they're doing the whole online thing, but she's like the opposite. She wants to go to school.
Well, that's
she wants because of her friends.
They want that, which is good for them. But so you said you got back from doing something crazy this last week, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of going back to the whole fires and all that, right?
Right.
The air quality was so bad here, and I was originally gonna go over to Central Oregon with your brother Tyler. We were gonna climb the South Sister. The
Oh no,
fires happened.
almost
Whoa,
dropped my mic. Fell over on me.
got a little
Ah,
crazy over there.
yeah,
But
getting
anyways, we were gonna go um, climb the South Sister and all that, but because the fires, things shut down. Right, I wasn't able to really get over there. Logistically, it just wasn't gonna happen. So I was a little bummed out, to be honest. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm gonna do something anyway. I'm tired of being here. I want to get out, get away
I don't
from
blame you.
no service, no phone, no nothing, right? So I went north. I decided to go north up the Washington coast to Olympic National Park, um, thinking that the air quality would be a whole lot better. And honestly, it wasn't much better than here on the coast, but it's better than a lot of other places. And so I went up there and I went left on a Sunday, got back on a Wednesday. It was phenomenal. I
Yeah,
love the Olympics. That was my second time, and I will go back many, many more.
well, it brings up a good point because you just went phenomenal on me. That for later in the episode, we have a new segment because of Olympic National Park and this story. This guy out there all by himself, wandering the woods, thinking that he's Bigfoot himself. And he says, "Hey, Zach, I have an idea for the podcast. I'm going to review the parks." So later in the episode, we're going to be reviewing this park with our new segment that's going to be episode weekly segment that you can tune into and listen to. So
I don't know if it'll be weekly, but whenever we go to a park or do an adventure and we talk about it here on the podcast, you best believe that you're going to be getting your WWR, your Wandering Ways review.
I love it. Your WWR. It's not your W2. It's not your
No,
WWW. It's your WWR.
WWR,
The
the
official
Wandering Way review of
sponsored by Quartz Lake.
this week's is sponsored by Quartz Lake. Well, that will be at the end after I talk about all the stories. So
I'm excited. You haven't shared with me anything. I got a phone call from Matt, buddy. He called me and he said, "Did you see Mark's photos of the Olympic?" And I was like, "Oh, that's what you want to talk about. All right, cool."
yeah,
And
on my drive up on, I decided to take it really slow,
okay,
because part of the park is on the coast there,
yes,
and similar to Glacier, the parts that are pretty controlled by the Native American reservations, they're closed off, so rightfully so. But some of them are still open. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go stop, walk on the beach, enjoy the beach kind of deal. And I mean, if you've been on the Oregon coast, you kind of already got a feel for what those is. So it wasn't like anything inspiring for me, but there still was some cool stuff. I'm gonna get one of them up here in a second, just because I I've talked about it here before. Um, I've gone agate hunting. I want to go to Florida and do that shelling because of
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah.
She got me all excited. So I like to look, see what I like to beach comb is what they call it.
Beach. Hey, we all like to look
Yeah.
around on the beach. Oh my gosh, is this a
But
little guy?
yeah, so I found what this little guy is. And when I had no idea what it was, because he looks just like it's like as big as a little pebble, right?
Mhm.
And it looks like a water droplet. And me, I'm like, well, what the heck? So I touched it and it like jiggled and all that. And actually, huge shout out to my Instagram followers because I put it up on Instagram. I was like, hey, or I was like, I have no idea what you are, little dude. And I got a bunch of responses saying like, this is a comb jelly. It's
Okay.
Yeah, so it was super awesome. One to just get my Instagram followers to hit me back because I really didn't know. And I saw a ton of these. They were just kind of like little, like looked like they were rocks, just like these little clear pebble things that were super, super, super cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it
for
was
those,
exciting to see them.
for those of you listening, you'll be able to see this picture on the YouTube channel of Quartz Lake Productions, where we post the the video portion of this podcast. So you'll be able to see us if you like.
Yeah,
Um,
and hopefully these pictures, we'll be doing a lot of them on the Quartz Lake Instagram.
yes.
So at quartz_lake_productions, check it out. You can also see the Instagram story that I was talking about. It's one of my main stories on my Instagram of the whole trip to the Olympics. So if you want to go check out that whole trip and all my other adventures, check out Reverend Marcus um,
Well,
on Instagram.
what I really like about looking at this, because this is the first time I've seen the photo, I didn't know what it was when it was on your Instagram. So now I'm seeing it in a new eye. I'm being
Yeah,
able to take this in, and it just looks. I mean, I can see where you're on the beach and you want to pick this thing up
yeah,
because it looks like a cool rock. It just looks like a rock with the bubbles on it, and it's
yeah.
really pretty.
It's really cool. Because it was such an odd thing to see, and I had no idea that it was a comb jelly.
Um, I like that you added the blur on the photo. I don't know if you added that or if that's just how it focused on the shell or the comb jelly. But it's that tiny effect, which I like.
Yeah,
Help magnify.
I've noticed a lot of the photos that I take. I like to do the small stuff. Um, I have a ton of like frogs, mushrooms, flowers. I love wildflowers. Love mushrooms. Um, but a lot of it is that tiny, and I actually have a ton of photos where it's blurred around and it focuses in on one kind of object.
I think you would really like to get into the tilt shift. Um, I think when you, for those of you listening, a tilt shift lens kind of gives you that feature where you'll see pictures of like a stadium and it gives it that toy effect, and that's really good for this close up stuff that you're doing. I think it would look
Yeah.
really powerful with what you already got going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, the camera I have is a hand me down. So I mean, it's an old camera, but I mean, it takes good pictures. So, I'm
Well,
all about it still. And I love it because I've been working on my photography skills with it.
that's
And
important. That's great.
yeah, and you can definitely tell, I think especially this last trip, I think I took some of my best photos I've ever taken.
Well, and that's just, I mean, that's part of what we preach, right? Is just fucking do it and
Yeah.
keep taking photos. You learn from them. Like
Mm-hmm.
where I really struggled with night photography is the fact that I just wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And then finally got out there and was able to take photos of the Milky Way when we were sitting in West Yellowstone there, looking over Henry's Lake, and I was toying with it there, and then the comet, and I was like, I'm gonna master this thing, and I have not mastered it by any means, but I've taken some pretty cool photos that I think are good for what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Just keep doing it.
Yeah. No, for sure. And sometimes if you like the way the photo works, then it's a successful photo. It's not
Right?
like you and I are these, it's not like we're in magazines or anything.
No,
If you like the photo, if I like a photo, it's a great photo to me.
I'm on I have one of my photos, one of my night photos on the cover of it was an internal document for an organization, so I'll take that.
Damn, you are big time. Look
Right? No, I don't even know if it made it to print. I'm just kidding.
at
No, I love taking photos. I love nature photos. I mean, I'm more of an animal guy. I've been asked to do
Yeah.
people. I hate taking photos of people. I will take photos of people. Like
Mhm.
Tyler, we got him some good Tinder pics because he wanted those for where he was at. But personally, I would much rather take a photo of a bear or a buffalo than a waterfall.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the small photos of like flowers or mushrooms. I think that's my favorite. Uh,
Yeah.
but I still take a bunch of other photos. Um, like actually the next photo I'm probably going to show is from the first hike. So, I went up the coast, right?
Yep.
And I was camping in the park in the Soul Duck Valley. So it's
Okay.
kind of the northwest kind of section of the Olympics. It's about 30 miles west of Port Angeles, if anyone's curious of where it is exactly. But so I camped there, and the big thing there is the Soul Duck Falls, which is the
Uh-huh.
picture I'm going to show right here, which was really cool. The first day, and this was one of those adventures I did where I just got the campsite and then I was like, I'll figure out the rest, you know. So I
Yeah.
the same campsite, which right there at the Soul Duck Falls, or not the falls itself, but in the valley.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a really cool waterfall. It kind of just sits, the bridge goes over, and it's not far from the parking lot to the falls. So anybody really could do this particular hike. And
Incredible.
there's also a resort there with like hot springs and all of that right there in the Soul Duck Hot Resort is what it is. Due to COVID, I couldn't get in there for the hot springs, so I was super bummed. But you can even do a short hike from there to these falls, and I think it's like 4 miles.
Oh, wow.
So, if you wanted to go hang out at this resort, check out the falls type deal on a weekend, I recommend going to this spot. Seeing these falls is awesome.
So actually, I love the Pacific Northwest. I love Washington. I want to explore more of Washington. I was able um, these waterfalls, the way you describe the lodge and these hikes, and it makes me think when we were in, and I don't think I've ever told anyone this story, so it's kind of one of those new stories because it's one of those ones that um, there's no real purpose to tell the story, but you have it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I kind of wanted to be out there. Um, and if anyone's thinking that, these falls are really pretty. It's really cool. It looks secluded. Looks like you had a good moment there. Like you could have just sat there and taken it all in, taken the moment in.
It was nice because I mean, I woke up early, so it was before crowd. So I was literally the only one at the falls.
Beautiful. And we were able to go to Snoqualmie Falls, which is in the Cascades, east of Seattle. So we're at Snoqualmie Falls, and we're filming a commercial for the U.S. Census, and we had some tribal members with us because this was, tribal populations fill out your census. It's very important. It's how it affects our communities, and um, we were there and we're taking photos of these people. We're able to go down by the falls, which only tribal members can, and like select people can go down there. Like we had to have the tribal police with us. They walked us down there. It was really cool, really spiritual, really one of those places that when you were down there, it's like you could see the ancient ones there with you. You know what I mean? Like one of those places where it was like I could see, the great ancestors sitting there drinking water, holding their horses or whatever it may be. It was one of those locations there. Wow, and I'm really glad to have that moment. And there wasn't that many of us there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. But when we were up on top, right? So before we went down there, we were up on top because a lot of people come there, and there's just a little lookout, right? A
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
lookout on this boardwalk. Definitely recommend it to go if you've never been. And this couple came, and we're sitting there. We have the professional photo gear, like you know, 10 people, workers working right here, and taking photos, holding like sunshades and this and light bouncers and flashes and cameras and multiple cameras. And this couple comes down because this is also tourist spots. These tourists that come in and out. We're just doing our thing in between, taking pictures of these tribal members.
Yeah.
And this guy is like, he like asked us to like take a photo on his phone, and like, oh, we're like, oh no, like we could just take it on, like the guy was like, we could just take it on our, or like, okay, yeah. And then he got down on one knee and proposed to this girl, like right there in front of all of us. And like the guy like was like, why am I taking it with your camera? Like, you should just ask me to take it with like this one. And got his email and everything, and got like these beautiful photos of like them. They were lighting them, so it was like a professional photo shoot.
That's actually really funny. Because the last day I was in the Olympics, I was walking out, because both the hikes I went, you got to go to the falls, and you can go one of two ways. But on the last day, I'm walking back from the falls, and there was some professional like photographers going out, and there's a couple going to get their wedding photos at those falls, the Solduck Falls there.
Yeah, no, it was like, he was like, I couldn't have planned it any better, like joking.
Yeah.
But like,
that's funny. That's just ironic. Good for that guy. Hope that couple, wish them the best and whatever. If they need someone to do the wedding, if they're listening, I don't know who it is or anything, but remember, I'm ordained, Mr. Reverend Marcus. Hit me up.
I like that. No, it's funny because it just went like those falls, kind of like, that would be one of those places that someone would do that, and it just, that story came to me. But it's like, why would I tell people that?
Yeah, right. It's but it's a kind of cool story. Like,
right?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, the first hike, I went to the falls and I kept going, and I didn't have any real plan or anything, to be honest. So I just kept walking and walking and walking. And I didn't realize how much incline there was. And it's not like big incline. It's just like this steady where you don't even really notice it until you're like 2.5 miles in. You're like, why the hell am I this tired on what seems like such an easy hike? But then on the way down, I was like, oh, that's because I was literally going nothing but up the whole time. But anyway, I got to this hike, or this lake called Deer Lake, which was super cool, because I'm going to show the picture here, because it's this lake and it appears that there's a bunch of fog.
Oh, is that all the fire smoke?
Yeah, it's all fire smoke.
Wow. So beautiful. Is that a moose over there?
No, I wish.
It looks like a moose in the photo.
Yeah, no, this lake looked like there would be a moose there.
I love moose.
This was a really cool lake. I ended up sitting here had my lunch, ended up sitting here for like hour and a half. Doing my whole hippie thing, getting my grounding in,
right.
Just absorbing the earth, enjoying it all.
Well, I really like you said it, right? Like, this is one of those images, and I've seen similar things to this photo, like rivers and whatnot, this kind of view.
Yeah.
Took this from, and I really like the layers of trees behind it.
Yeah.
And how the fire smoke kind of hides it, as well as the lake itself just seems so still and quiet that I could totally see why you wanted to have that moment and spend at least an hour of your life.
Yeah, no, it was it was calm. There's no wind. It's just the fire smoke sitting there. And what this picture's you're not gonna be able to see it like at all in this picture. Well, you might be able to see it in some of the trees, like this far tree on the left here that I'm circling for the viewers. You can kind of see what looks like lichen on the tree that kind of dangles. It's kind of like almost an ornament for a Christmas tree, right?
Wow.
That's actually on probably 80% of the trees here.
Oh my gosh.
So and it's just like this subtle, like really kind of lightish green. So it was really cool it was just like a different kind of lake that I've experienced. And the smoke making it look like fog on the calm day. It was a real ominous kind of like feel to it. So
I'm kind of mad at you right now because as I see why again, I'm still staring at this photo. Like I'm in the moment. I'm picturing myself there. I'm trying to take it all in, and I I want it. I want that moment, and I'm planning on coming back out into the Pacific Northwest in October sometime. Go see my family in Oregon, and I'm low key kind of debating, going the Seattle route, taking a ferry and heading on over there
oh, heck yeah.
because
And
I'm like,
actually, if you do it from there, if you went into the Soul Duck,
it's
um,
beautiful, man.
yeah, there was one. So after the day of this hike, I had a lot of time throughout the day, and I didn't want to just stay at my campsite and read. So I was like, you know what? I'll just kind of drive towards Port Angeles and maybe get something like a sandwich or something for dinner instead of like the typical top ramen or PB&Js that I ate all the rest of the time. So
My
it's like,
favorite,
yeah,
my favorite is yours and Vince's road trip beans.
oh yeah, yeah. No. Oh my gosh, yeah. Vince and I, our first meal on that road trip was canned beans and carrots, like the
Right?
big long carrots.
Yeah, I remember you guys showed up and we're sitting in the Tetons at the campground there, and you and Vince and what was his friend's name?
Phil,
Phil. Yes, I knew it was a P. Phil. Great guys.
yeah.
And you're sitting there and you guys just whip out this giant can of Costco beans, like,
We had a bunch of them.
oh, I believe it. And you can just tell that, like, you guys were coming from a college town, Oregon State, right? Like, coming from there, like, hit Costco in Albany, got to do that, and
Yeah,
just like load up for this trip, but only beans, and then like, yeah, the carrots, like, yeah,
yeah. Well, he got the carrots
that's
to
funny.
snack on the road while we're driving and stuff for that. And then we got to our first campsite in Zion, and we were like, "Oh, we don't have anything other than beans and carrots." So that's what we had. But anyways, on my drive from the Solduck Valley to Port Angeles, you drive right along. It's Crescent Lake is what it's called, and so it's still kind of this fire smoke foggy look. And I did the drive again, and the lake's not that as wide as I thought when I first did the drive. But because of all the smoke and stuff, couldn't see the other side.
Oh, so you just thought it was.
You just it's lake and then it looks like it just goes forever. But also you're driving and the road, like the trees are kind of just changing color right now. So it's got some yellow with some of this green, and it was a really pretty drive. It was one it was I was really glad I just spur of the moment was like, I'm just going to drive to Port Angeles.
I love it. Uh, I love that. I mean, I kick myself every time when I had the opportunity to go out there. I wanted to go out there,
Yeah,
but
you should, man.
I decided I wanted to stay in Seattle and put a hole in my Jeep and spend the day, an extra day waiting on a mechanic. But life happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, you'll just have to go again or head out there, and so let me know. I want to go back. So
that's what I'm saying. It's like, let's do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like,
yeah,
count on me. I don't
yeah, for sure. No, I loved it.
know.
The
I Well, I got a little teaser when we were that same time we were filming that commercial, because we're all over. We went from Snoqualmie Falls over to the Kiana Lodge, which is right. It's right out, kind of near Port Gamble.
mhm.
Out, you go past Bainbridge Island to take the ferry over there, and you right by Polsbo. Right, beautiful lodge that they built, and it's tribally owned. Right by the Squamish Clearwater Casino and Resort. It was right on the lake, and they have this beautiful longhouse for ceremonial purposes and beautiful just area. And that was like my little tease. And I'm just you're almost to the Olympics. You're so close.
Yeah.
You can see them. You're on the islands in the sound there, but I'm kicking myself, man. Your photos, the way you're describing it, I'm kicking.
It's wonderful, you know. And then I did the second day because I like climbing and getting as high as I can, elevation wise. So it's out west, so the elevation's not nearly as high as like when you get to the Rockies and all that, right? So I got to this pass called Appleton Pass, and it's only 5,000 feet. It's not high at all, but you know, I mean, you're still climbing up, up, up. I think I still did like almost 2,000 feet of climbing, so the climb was still
That's
decent.
good.
Yeah, but yeah, I got up there, and in all reality, when it comes to views of like high mountain kind of stuff, it's nothing incredible. Like, you know, compared to Glacier, you know, those are mountain views, right?
Right.
But you could still see the Olympic Mountains. I think it's Mount Olympus there. It was super cool. But my favorite part was the wild blueberries.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that.
Dude, they were everywhere up there.
Oh my god.
Everywhere. There's so many, and there are a ton of backcountry campsites up there too. Actually, I talked to a couple that spent the night up there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when I did that hike, there's a ton of rain the night before, so the smoke was all gone because of the rain. It ended up coming back, but it was pretty much gone for me when I was up there. So I got great sun, great views, and a
Wow.
bunch of blueberries to snack on for my meal.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Wow.
it was something else. I'd never seen wild blueberries like that before.
Really?
Yeah, so it was. I mean, I've seen blueberries. My parents have a ton of blueberry plants. I just never seen like wild blueberries.
Well, and that's interesting because I've come across a few times on that Mystic Lake hike here in Montana, just a few plants here and there of wild raspberries. And
Mm.
it's interesting the difference, between like an actual, blackberry, blueberry, raspberry bush to like the wild ones that you see. And we, because they're little dainty ones, like
Yeah,
they're
right.
tiny. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not been GMO'd,
No, no.
right?
Oh man, dude, these berries were so good. They were so good.
Uh,
I had my typical PB&J sandwich up at this pass, and then I just had like a handful of blueberries. And the part of me too, it's like, oh, I'm eating these berries, and like, yeah, I'm like 99% sure blueberries, but there's that 1% of like doubt in the back of your mind. You're like, all right, this either it's going to be a delicious snack right now, or things are going to get ugly later.
right. Yeah, you should probably get a foraging book and take that with you on your journey, so you know.
I know. I want to get a mushroom. I want to get into mushrooming. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but actually, by the time this comes out, it'll probably already be past. But I'm planning to do a little like Instagram series of like identifying mushrooms, right? So I'm gonna do a whole thing where I'm gonna do like a week of different mushrooms and try and see if people can guess them along with me.
Well, what I love about like people kind of knock on them because they're just fungi, right?
Oh, I know
But
fungi are super cool.
they are the like network of the fucking trees
Yeah,
and the way they interact with the trees and the way the trees
yeah,
communicate with one another. And it's like we like we communicate with our vocal cords vibrating back and forth. Who's to say the tree isn't vibrating to make those fungi or to do
I know.
this, do that, right?
I've talked about it on the podcast
I
before.
know.
The
Fantastic.
documentary, Fantastic Fungi. People, you got to go and watch it. If you haven't already, um, shoot, please watch it. It's amazing. It changes your life when it comes to fungi.
Right?
But
Oh gosh.
yeah, but that's I mean, by the time this is out, that's already gone. So I'm not going to go into detail about my Jeopardy version of guessing the fungi. But
Right?
yeah. But so that was the main bulk of like the hikes and stuff I did Olympics. On my way back south at the end, I stopped in the Ho rainforest. I think it's a Ho, Hoa.
Yeah. It's a tribe. It's a local tribe.
Stopped there, just because unless you're backcountry camping, there's not a whole lot there to do. There's a couple hikes, but you can get those like literally both of them done, and they like both combined are like maybe 2.5 miles. So you can get done like that. But I love this forest because one, you feel like you're in an enchanted place. It just has like this
Oh
crazy,
God.
like you can believe in monsters and all that out in this forest.
Well, we bring it up the Pacific Northwest from Northern California to Washington to parts of Alaska into Canada. There is a reason, people. There is a reason people believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah,
Because of this. Like, look at it and tell me, like, well, like, I don't want to walk through that, but other animals, bugs, and creatures will.
yeah, no,
No.
it's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
you really feel like you're in some enchanted place. And the other part I like about this, if anyone's a Lord of the Rings fan, and you know what the Ents are, um, if the Ents, if they're real, they'd be in this rainforest, the whole rainforest, because they have these like um, the moss. So this picture that I have up, it just drapes like a curtain on this, and
Yeah.
that's actually pretty small amount compared to some that you'll see. And it just looks like these trees just decided to, like, moss covers the ground everywhere up there. But then just one day these trees just decide to stand up and be the tree that they are, and they just have all this moss still hanging on them still.
Oh
Like
my
it
God.
came from the ground and now it's just hanging on them, like the way this picture is. And it you would think like, they're ents from Lord of the Rings that they just come and create. Now they have like this little had like wings to their, it's, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but
You gotta
I
go see it. Is
super
what
cool.
I mean. I get what you're explaining. Probably for like, it's very similar. Like down south, you see in the willow trees, the
Yeah,
way that they hang and they have that feel in
yeah,
them.
yeah, that would be a good way to do it.
But in a rainforest in the like
Hmm.
Pacific Northwest. I totally get what you're saying. Um, I mean, when I was down in Louisiana, man, just that like the swamp life, swamp look is very, very similar to the Pacific Northwest in that
Yeah,
the way the like moss and the different plants are.
yeah, it's crazy. And up there everything is green. Like when you think of like forests and stuff, you're like, yeah, there's a lot of green, right? But the ground, there's a lot of brown, and even the trunks, there's brown. You see a lot
Yeah.
of brown. Up there, no. Everything is covered in moss or lichen or something green. I mean, everything is green up there. And like this picture I have up now, that's like a little creek, but there's logs, moss, clovers. It's all just green except for the dead leaves that are falling from the maples. But it's incredible how everything is just green.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's super cool.
It reminds me of like when I was up in the Queen Victoria Inlet, where Young Life
Yeah,
Malibu goes, and that up in Canada, British Columbia, there, that same kind of, when you're on those like islands in the northwest, and that's what I mean. That's what this peninsula is. It's got that weird, the way the water's around it. It's beautiful.
yeah, it's phenomenal.
You
Uh,
just stare at it for hours.
I know. I love this picture. This,
I do too. I like the depth in your
yeah.
picture.
I remember when I was taking it, I was just like, you know what? I suck at these kind of pictures because I never get what I want out of the picture that I'm taking. But I was like, you know what? But I'm gonna take it anyway because it'll be a nice little memory for myself to see it. And then I got it up and edited it a little bit, and I was like, oh, that turned out way better than
Well,
when I was
what
gonna.
I like is normally when you take a picture like this and it's you capture the focus on like these two trunks normally is what your camera will pick up, and it didn't
Yeah,
capture that. That's what helps. But there's still enough detail in there to give you that feel and depth. And I honestly believe that's the moss in
I
the
do
way
too. I think the moss really did it.
it's beautiful. And I encourage all you guys to go check him out on Instagram at Reverend Marcus, and it's just, whew.
Yeah, this picture is definitely on the Instagram. Um, Reverend Marcus, check
Oh,
it out.
what I also like is where the focal point, and this is the artist in me talking, right? The focal, like the horizon point, the point on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
There is one. It's if you look at this branch coming down, there's a little green dot in the middle there of that branch, which is actually you looking through the branch. It's like a tree behind there, but it gives
Oh
you
yeah,
that like tunnel like in the distance clearing view that this goes for days and days and days, and it's a cool shot.
yeah. No, this one's like probably a top three favorite photo that I've ever taken.
Well, it's a wall hanger, as you call them, right?
Yeah, this one. I don't think this one is above my picture at Mount St. Helens,
Oh, okay.
but it's close. That one's just I got lucky, mainly because I took it with a GoPro, so you get the wide angle for that one.
I do think that one that you got right there too. That's one of those ones you put at the end of your hallway in like a nice dark frame.
Yeah,
And you like, on your stroll at the end of the hallway, you just take a nice good look at it.
I could see that being that one.
That's what I do in my house. I put pictures of places I've been in places where like when I'm standing on my stairs, like so I have a picture of Bryce Canyon,
Mm,
right? When I am walking down my stairs, I can stop, look out the window, but also look straight ahead at this picture of Bryce Canyon. And it's that same kind of feel as we were there, the way you're looking out. It gives me that same, you're arched up. Yeah, I
yeah,
like it.
I can dig that. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of the bulk of my trip, which it's exciting because it's a bummer I left. That's not the exciting part. The exciting part is it's our first edition of WWR, Wandering Ways Review.
Not to confuse with WWW, the World Wide Web.
No.
WWR with the reference.
Yeah. No, yeah, this Reverend's review of Olympic National Park. We got a bunch of different categories, and then we will hit you with the overall at the end.
What is our first category, sir?
Yeah, and we'll describe the categories too. How we will be describing or judging these parks based on these categories, right?
Oh,
So,
and we gotta let people know, right? It's our personal bias. So this
yes.
is based on our experiences in the park, our stories are this. It is who we are. We are two guys in their 20s doing this. I encourage those who are older or younger than us or in between. I don't care. Just know that because that's where it's coming from. We try and do our best to explain for everybody, but that is where our narrative is created.
Exactly. And but the first category of this WWR is the awe factor, right?
For Olympic National Park.
Olympic National Park. What awe factor is, it's just like that when you get in and you're like, whoa. That
Like,
you're saying a whoa, audible whoa.
well, I think to let our viewers know too, Tyler, for example, right? When he was in the redwoods, that was that whoa factor.
That
Oh
awe
my
factor.
God, what I can't believe So that's kind of where this is generated from, is that type of experience.
Yeah. And so for Olympic National Park, the awe factor, I'm going to give it like 3.5 for the awe factor.
Really?
Yeah. Part of it's because I'm from the Oregon coast. So I've seen that beach before.
Bias.
Yeah. But, you know, it's off my experiences. So I get that, right? The forests are super cool, super, super cool. But it wasn't like, I was like, wow. But I wasn't like, whoa, or like, oh my gosh type deal.
We're mind blown.
Yeah. 3.5 stars. Next category is the crowds. What's the crowd situation like, right? So if we have more stars on this one, means the crowds aren't that big.
All right.
Yeah.
Big crowd, small star or rating.
Big. Yeah. So crowds, if it's an issue, it's a low star. If it's not an issue, it's big stars.
All right.
And for this one, honestly, like 4 stars.
You've not a lot of crowds, but you've also been there before, and I'm curious, is that still stand when you went on that big trip?
No, that's true too, right? So I am judging it off of this trip, not the last trip I went on, because that would be different ratings. This one, it's like, it would probably be like 3.5, 4, because Hurricane Ridge gets a lot more people, because that's like in Port Angeles.
Okay.
This one, there were some crowds at the Solduck Falls, but as soon as you got away from that, I didn't see like anybody. So at that Deer Lake, that lake, saw no one. When I got up to the Appleton Pass, just me, you know, but there are some in the hot spots, and there was a decent amount of people. It wasn't crazy. It didn't like, it's not like, you know, the big parks type crowds. So 4 stars for me on this trip on the crowds.
Nice.
Next category is the chance of seeing some wildlife. What's your wildlife possibility? Are you going to see some on this? So higher stars means you probably most definitely are going to see some wildlife. Lower stars, not so much.
Yeah. And I think I like that. I like how you have that with the way you're saying it, because I think that a true 5-star is going to be one of those parks where, there are national parks that you will see the animals because they are there.
Yeah.
That's given fact. So.
And yeah, definitely. And for this park, it's 1 star. Wow. Star. Yeah. You're in the forest. There's a lot going on.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely thought I was going to see a bear because of all the wild blueberries and all of that, but it didn't. And I didn't even really see anything outside squirrels or signs of bears or anything. So for me, it's like 1 star.
You did see the jellies.
That's true. I did see the jellies, which, I mean, I guess 1.5 because 1.5 because the jellies were that cool.
Cool.
Next category is accessibility. So is this accessible or do I think, or we think that this is accessible for everybody? Then we're talking 5 stars. If you got to be like a trained mountaineer, wild man, you're on that show alone, probably looking at a 1 star there.
Right, you're backpacking Antarctica by yourself. Yeah, 1 star.
Yeah, that's like a 1 star. Or towards that, whereas the 0 stars really for that one. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
For this one, I'm actually going to give it 4 stars because in that valley you have that resort and you can go to the Solduck Falls pretty easy. You know, that's why I give it the 4 stars, because if you just want to get away out in nature and you're not that fit, you can do this no problem. Easy peasy, 4 stars. But outside of that one hike there and the 2 small ones in the Hoh rainforest, I mean, you got to be kind of a a little bit more ready to go up and do some like hiking. You got to be able to hike, but you don't have to be like a marathon athlete or anything.
All right, I like it. I like it.
Next category is camping. What's
Okay.
the camping situation like in these parks? Not all parks, we've really camped in the parks themselves. So sometimes it's going to be hard to judge. Fortunately, this time did camp in the park. And I'm going to be honest, the campsite I was at, not very good. So I'm only giving it 2 stars.
Oh yeah, why not that good?
Um, the actual campsite I had, there's like only one spot to hang up my hammock. And actually, unfortunately, due to the excess of bugs, I decided to set up my tent just to stay out of the bugs. And there was not a single good spot to put my tent in this one camp
Oh,
spot.
I feel you.
So, I was like literally right next to the fire ring. And fortunately, that wasn't an issue because there's a fire ban due to the wildfires. So, having it that close to the fire ring was not an issue this time. But if I wanted to have a campfire during times you can, would have been a little dicey getting my tent on fire.
I get you. I get you. That's why you got to get the Rougarou, man, and just be able to find one tree and put your hammock right
No,
up.
see, what I need is a mosquito net or something.
Oh,
Because you should see me after I was just covered in bugs.
I feel you.
You're in the forest, you're going to get bugs.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Next category is hikes. What are the hikes like? Um, these hikes were tough. They were like all uphill, like steady uphill, but not like crazy. And they were awesome. So I'm giving it, I'm giving it 4.5 stars.
Okay.
You
My
know,
question with the hikes that I think our viewers will have is, are we the amount of hikes, the opportunity of hikes? Because like you go to some parks like Cuyahoga in Ohio, there's not as many cool hikes or Indiana sand dunes.
no, that's important to factor in.
And I think that is something to factor in. Like, is there a good amount of hikes in Olympic? Were you able to pick and choose from a lot? Um,
No, to tell you the truth, not really. There are not a whole lot of. It's a lot of going on the same trail, but there's a lot of stops on the way, right? So you can either stop at one spot, call it good, or you can keep going.
that's good. Well, that's nice.
So that's nice. But in reality, there's not a lot of like different ones you can do compared to other parks. But they were still great hikes, fantastic hikes.
No, and I think that that's something to factor in because, like, you go to Devil's Tower, right? What's the
Yeah.
hiking situation? Like, I think I would rank it a 2 because, like, well, it's still cool. You're in a really cool spot. You're walking around Devil's Tower, but I think that's all they have to offer,
Yeah.
which is
No.
cool, but it is what it is.
100% there. Last category before I give the overall rating is what's Bigfoot possibility?
Oh, I think this one's a good one, huh?
Yeah, what's our chances of seeing Bigfoot? Honestly, after going to that whole rainforest and doing the Little Biggest hikes, I think the Bigfoot possibility is pretty high up in the Olympics. I would actually not be surprised if he was out there. Flat Bigfoot is a thing. The reason we don't see him is because he turns to his side and he's flat, so he's invisible. We only ever see the one angle of Bigfoot. So as soon as he turns, right, you can't see him because he's so thin.
Flat Stanley, right? In that book.
The flat Bigfoot theory. Throw out that flat Earth theory. Flat Bigfoot's in. I still think he's out there. So I'm giving the Bigfoot possibility a 5 out of 5 stars.
I love it. Throw the flat Earth out and throw the flat Bigfoot in, and that is where he's at. I love it.
He's there.
Well, I've heard stories. So I've heard stories from people, some tribal members in that area. They were like, "No, he took a dog of mine." So, all right.
So this gets to the big one, right? The overall rating for Olympic National Park. I loved it the first time I went. I still love it this time. I'm giving it the 4 out of 5 stars. for overall. It's a great park. I think everybody, if you're in that area, go check it out. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. I think the
I
accessibility
love it.
is good. So
I love it. I'm on board. I'm like you said, like I said, I'm thinking and heading that way when I come out. I
oh,
don't know. I don't necessarily know, and I could do some phone calls to some people to get a whole Bigfoot expedition. Huh? How's that sound, everybody? Get the Quartz Lake team together and look for Bigfoot. I don't know. You let us know. You send us an email. You send us a DM on Instagram. You find us. We will let you know how it goes. Check the stories. Check it all. We're having a great time in Mother Nature, and we're rating national parks now, and we appreciate all you guys listening. And you got a nice comment from one of your friends saying it's like having us in the room with them, which
yes.
we appreciate that, and thank you for reaching out and letting us know. Go on an adventure and come on the podcast, huh? How about that?
Yeah, no, please. It's awesome. I mean, this kind of segues into our final words, my guy.
Oh my gosh, is it that we did that pretty well today, huh? I'm excited.
Yeah, we're flowing really well. The ending's gonna flow really well.
Right?
We're basically at our hour now, so
That's it, man. It's over. Our time has come with these folk.
yeah, we're
And
getting better at this whole timing thing.
right. And we're
But
not even using the stopwatch. You're welcome. No.
no, we still got the stopwatch.
We'll
But
get better.
final words, my guy.
I think you gotta wander that way. You gotta wander this way. You gotta wander your way with Wandering Ways. And as a part of that, you heard today's conversation. We focused in on Olympic National Park, but we talked about a lot of other cool things along the way. And our biggest message that we push is getting out there and doing it yourself. And that's what it is. It's mind over matter. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Like, and I like preaching that. I think it's a good thing to preach, and I like that. So I'd like to turn it to you and ask you, what are your final words?
Reverend's words of wisdom today is nature heals.
I
The
love it.
reason I went up to the Olympics was to heal mentally, physically, spiritually, is to get back in touch, right? I mentioned I did my whole hippie grounding thing at the lake, right? No, nature heals. It heals people. And it doesn't have to be the Olympics, the crazy forest to go. It could be Central Park in New York City. That still counts. Just go out, enjoy, get in that energy that the earth gives us. Because nature heals, guys. And I feel bad because I didn't do it right at the start. But you guys are all amazing, and I love you. You're beautiful.
I
So,
love it. I love it. Take your shoes off and touch the grass.
yes, please do. But that being said, peace out, everybody.